let's see what we're doing here. Once, this here is my oldest story. This is the one that my grandmother used to tell me. Everybody likes this one. This is called The Old Woman and Her Pig. You know that one? You're gonna. Yeah. Once upon a time, there was a sweet little old woman lived all by herself in a little house at the edge of the woods. One day she decided it was time to do the spring cleaning, so she started to sweeping and mopping and dusting and waxing. You do that when you spring clean. She moved this big old chair she hardly ever moved, big heavy thing. She went, and discovered there in the dust bunnies under that chair was a great big shiny silver dollar. A woman said, mercy sakes, what'll I do with all this money? This is a long time ago, recollect. She said, believe tomorrow I'll go to the market and purchase a pig. She did, bought the cutest little pink curly-tailed pig you ever did see, and she tied a string to the piggy's hind leg. Holding on to the string that was tied to the pig, she started to driving him home and said, come on, pig, let's go home. She was doing real good. Got almost halfway home, and she came to a stile and went to try to get, you know what a stile is? I'm getting blank looks even from some of the grown-ups. Okay. Folks, a long time ago would use a stile instead of a gate to get over the fence. You just take the fence, you put steps up on this side, steps down on the other. It's for folks, not for everybody. I saw OSHA approved one a few years ago. Metal handrails on both sides. Anyway, I knew you'd like that. Came to the stile and tried to drop that pig into jump and said, come on, piggy. Jumped the stile. The little pig looked at her and went, See, they'll do that. Aggravating hogs. Yeah, my daddy used to say you try to make a pig go anywhere, his head's always going to be growing out the wrong end. That's the truth. She said, come on, pig, you're too big to lift. Go, piggy, go. Well, the little pig knew he had her. He plopped down in the dirt and looked at her and went, oh. So she left the pig there and went off to get her some help. She's a-walking back along the road and she saw a dog. She said, dog, bite that pig. Pig won't jump over the stile. I ain't going to get home tonight. Now, you know that dog would not help that old woman. So she walked on a little bit further because she saw a big stick. She said, stick, beat that dog. Dog won't bite that pig and jump over the stile. I ain't going to get home tonight, and the stick wouldn't help her neither. So she walked a little bit further because there's a big fire. She said, fire, burn that stick. Stick won't beat dog won't bite pig and jump over the stile. I ain't going to get home tonight. And the fire didn't even give a crackle. Well, poor old woman, she went a little bit further because she saw a big bucket of water. She said, water, quench that fire. Fire won't burn stick won't beat dog won't bite pig will jump over the stile. I ain't gonna get home tonight. And the fire didn't even give a crackle. Poor old woman, she was getting tired, but she went a little further because she saw this enormous ox. You know what an ox is? Like a cow. Just trust me on this one, okay? She said, ox, drink that water. Water won't quench fire. Fire won't burn stick won't beat dog won't bite pig will jump over the stile. I ain't gonna get home tonight. And the ox refused. Because, you see, you can lead an ox to make them something else, isn't it? Well, anyway, she went a little bit further because she saw actual human help. Coming toward her was a butcher. She hollered out, butcher, kill that ox. Ox won't drink water, won't quench fire, won't burn stick won't beat dog won't bite pig and jump over the stile. I ain't gonna get home tonight. And the butcher didn't have no sympathy. That's all. Poor old woman, she was pooped. But she walked a little bit further because she saw a rope. Still being aggravated at the butcher, she said, rope, hang that butcher won't kill. Ox won't drink water, won't quench fire, won't burn stick won't beat dog won't bite pig and jump over the stile. I ain't gonna get home tonight. And the rope would not. Square not. Okay, well, maybe you'll like the next one better. She went a little bit further because she saw this rat. Why this old woman thought this rat's going to pitch in and help, I don't know, but she asked him, she said, rat, no, that rope won't hang, butcher won't kill, ox won't drink water, won't quench fire, won't burn stick won't beat dog won't bite pig, won't jump over the stile. I ain't going to get home tonight. Smart aleck rat said, no. I'll just sit here until you get that one. Okay. Well, she went a little further because she saw a kitty cat. Just to sit, you know, them kitty cats will sit, they kind of cozy down, tuck their paws under their chest. When they're happy, they sit there and they go. Listen, as happy he was doing that. She said, kitty cat, would you please go and catch that rat? Rat won't know, rope won't hang, which won't kill, ox won't drink water, won't quench fire, won't burn stick won't beat dog won't bite pig and jump over the stile. I ain't able to get home tonight. And the kitty cat looked up and said, yeah. She said, what? What'd you say? Say that again. He said it again. He said, yeah, I'd be happy to catch the rat for you. If you go over there to that cow, get me a saucer of milk. Well, the old woman, what the heck to please, worked on the cat. She tried it on the cow. She went over, she said, cow, cow, will you give me, please, a saucer of milk? And the old cow, she said, I'd be glad to. If you go to that haystack and get me an armload of hay. Well, the old woman, she went right, cow, she went to the haystack, got hay, fed the cow. Cow gave her a saucer of milk. Well, gave her, you know. Got that saucer of milk, carried it back to the kitty cat. Kitty cat licked up every drop, washed his whiskers. And then, you ready? I shouldn't have bit this one off this early in the morning, but I'm gonna make a run at it here. And then, the cat began to catch the rat began to gnaw the rope began to hang the butcher began to kill the ox began to drink the water began to quench the fire began to burn the stick began to beat the dog began to bite the pig, and the little piggy squealed as loud as he could, and he jumped completely over the stile. And you know what? Y'all have a line in here.
What?
Yeah, that's your line. That's your line. Okay, let's get your cue now. You got your line. Here we go. You know what?
What?
Well, the old lady got home that night. The end. What? Well, that's something that the boys do too. The boys have a song they play that is actually called the Hey Polka. At one point in it, the audience is supposed to all say, hey. Well, I'll let you guess how well that was working.
Yeah.
So the boys decided that wasn't good enough, so they turned it into the Hey What Polka. So the band says hey, and the audience is instructed to say what, you know. So it's like diddle-diddle-diddle-diddle, yeah, hey, what, you know. It's actually kind of fun. Yeah. Let's see. There was a fella eons ago come through here, and he was, I knew before the man even opened his mouth he was going to lie to me, because I've been doing this for a lot of years. Ma'am, you won't come down and sit? I got empty chairs and benches over here. But you see, I've been collecting stories for a long time, and I have discovered, though, men tell me stories and women tell me stories in about equal amounts, but they look different when they're going to lie to you. Woman comes up and she looks like a school marm. They stand up real straight like their stays is laced too tight. They fold their hands like they just escaped from choir practice. Yep, one of them. And they look at you and they kind of sniffle and they say, you know, and then they lie to you. I told a friend of mine that one time. He'd never noticed that. He worked here too. And sure enough, not 15 minutes after I told him, a little woman walked up to him, folded her hands, looked at him and went, you know. He fell down laughing. She looked at him and said, I hadn't told it to you yet. Yeah, men come up to lie to you. They look like bank robbers. They'll kind of sidle up to you like a hound dog, muttering out the side of their mouths. And the dead giveaway on a man is if he is rubbing his nose. I can't, it's a lie. Remember that, girls.
Boy, Judy,
if he
I
rubs,
sure like your stories.
Yo, if he rubs his mouth and his nose in his mouth, it's a biggin. He rubs his nose, his mouth, and his chin in a kind of a double figure eight like this. It's a whopper. So this old man came up to me. He went, almost cleaned his face right off the front of his head. There, just. I went hunting yesterday. I said, oh, you did? Did you do any good? He said, oh, yeah. Daddy taught me when I was a boy, you go hunting, you get 3 bullets. You can't get something fit to eat with 3 bullets, you deserve to go hunting hungry. It'll improve your marksmanship. Well, he said, I was plumb ashamed of myself. I'd already get... Could I get you to go behind instead of walking betwixt me and my audience?
That'd be a great review.
Well, whatever. Just...
That better? I'm from Arkansas.
He's pretty new. He ain't got it yet. Anyway, So the fella, he said I was out, Daddy gave me 3 bullets, I'm out hunting. I've already shot and missed and shot and missed. I got 1 bullet left and nothing to show for the other 2. I'm determined to make that last bullet count. So I'm sneaking along with my bullet and my gun, and after a bit, something over to the left went rustle, rustle, rustle. I looked, it was a big old buck deer. I was about to draw down on him, something to the right went rustle, rustle, rustle. I looked, it was the biggest black bear I have ever seen. I'm looking at the bear and the deer and the bear and the deer and the bear, and I don't know which one to kill. So I drew my hunting knife out of my belt and I throwed it, and I stuck it in the tree right in between the critters. Bam! Shot at the knife blade. Knife blade split that bullet in half. Half of it killed the deer, half of it killed the bear. Y'all are taking this way too serious. We have established this is a lie. Not only that, when the knife blade peeled the bullet in half, the knife flew up in the air like a big pinwheel, went hit a flock of ducks flying by going quack, 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 quack. Ducks went through them ducks like a dose of salts, went and sliced, diced, and it was raining ducks. I was excited. I ran over there and started picking up ducks. I should have remembered one tiny detail. The knife is still up there. It came down, hit me on the head, hilt first, or it killed me. As it was, it knocked me senseless. Landed in the creek. The cold water brought me to pretty quick. I floundered and struggled and swam around for a while, tried to crawl out of the water, couldn't. Both boots and my overalls was full of bass. Well, he said I was determined not to leave none of this good stuff for the critters. I'm taking everything edible home to the family. So I got everything field dressed, skinned out, and stringered. I got it all figured out. I got a big string of ducks hanging around my neck, big stringer of bass clamped in my teeth. Got the deer worked up on this shoulder, worked the bear up on this shoulder. Tried to pick them up for one big load. I went, collar button, couldn't stand it, flew off, went bing across the creek, hit a rabbit in the head and killed him. Not a bad day's hunting for a feller with just 1 bullet. Yeah.
You could kind of think in terms of keeping the mic maybe an inch up the neck from the sound hole.
Up for ya. Okay. We're lousy with them this summer.
Bunches up, huh?
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Skirt tail, because I go into their classrooms in the schools, and I was sitting there telling stories, and he was going, and then after I finished that story, he kind of went, I don't know what he was looking at, but he was looking at it fixedly. And I started a story that I really thought the little critters should really like, but he was transfixed on something else. As a matter of fact, just as I started that story, just as an experiment, because he was right there, I started doing this, coming in on his nose, and I touched his nose before he realized I was doing it. Because I was doing this, like you know, come in on a sweat bead, and I actually grazed his nose before he ever noticed me. It's an amazing thing, but then again, like I was saying, I was calling some teachers down in Texas the other day. Yeah, but between kindergarten and 1st grade, they undergo a miraculous transformation. It's true. They're darn near another species when they're in kindergarten. Now, scooch down a little bit, girls. Or tell her hello. I don't know how you managed it, but boy, you got the good one, didn't you? Absolutely. Hi there, have a seat. Yeah, come on down. I got you a seat saved. Yeah, come on. And then after I get done, the Homestead Pickers will be back. They've only got that first show on the gazebo up in the morning, so they'll be here pretty quick. Gonna sit over there behind the post, huh? Okay. Once upon a time, there was a house made out of hemp stalks. In it lived an old man, an old woman, and a little girl, and outside in her doghouse lived little dog Turpie. Now, it was Turpie's job every single night while everybody was in the house sleeping. She would stay in her doghouse and she would keep watch. Well, one night she was doing her job, they were sleeping, she was watching, and the hobyahs came from the mountain. They were going hop-yah, 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 tear down the hemp stalks, eat the old man and woman, carry off the little girl. Well, Turpie rushed out of her doghouse. Turpie said, "Bow, bow, bow, bow," and the hobyahs, they ran away. And old man turned in his bed and said, "Little dog Turpie barks. so I can neither sleep nor slumber. If I live till tomorrow, I'm gonna cut off her tail. Next morning he did. And night the hobbyas came again. Hobby-ah, tear down the hemp stalks, eat the old man and woman, carry off the little girl. Well, Turpy rushed out and said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa," and the hobbyas, they ran away. And the old man turned in his bed. He said, "Little dog, Turpy barked, so I can either sleep or slumber. If I live till tomorrow, I'm gonna cut off her ears." Next morning he did. And night the hobbyas came again. Hobby-ah, tear down the hemp stalks, eat the old man and woman, carry off the little girl. Well, Turpy rushed out and said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa." What? And hobbyas ran away. They knew somebody was watching. And the old man turned in his bed and said, "Little dog, Turpy barked, so I could either sleep or slumber. If I live till tomorrow, I'm gonna cut off one of her legs." Next morning he did that. Night the hobbyas came back. Hobby-ah, tear down the hemp stalks, eat the old man and woman, carry off the little girl. Well, Turpy said one great big woof, but it was enough. The hobbyas ran away, and the old man turned in his bed and said, "Little dog, Turpy barked, so I can either sleep or slumber. If I live till tomorrow, I'm gonna cut off her head." Next morning he did that. Night the hobbyas came back. Hobby-ah, tear down the hemp stalks, eat the old man and woman, carry off the little girl. Turpy didn't say anything. So the hobbyas, they tore down the hemp stalk house and they ate that old man. They ate the old woman. They put the little girl in a sack and they tied it shut, and a bunch of them picked her up, carried her off up to the mountains. All night long they danced around the sack going hop-ya, and they'd run over, untie the sack, they'd say, "Look at me," and the little girl would scream. And they'd come back, untie the sack, they'd say, "Look at me," and the little girl would cry. Come the dawn, all the hobbyas went back under the mountain because they only come out in the dark. They left the little girl sitting tied in the sack. Well, that morning a hunter came by with a gun and a big black dog. He said, "I believe that sack up there is crying," because the little girl was. But the dog was way ahead of him. The dog ran up the hill, started snurfling around that sack, wagging his big fluffy back tail, and the hunter said, "I'm going to go look in that sack." So he walked up the hill, he untied the sack, he looked in, and the little girl screamed, and he said, "Why are you screaming at me?" She said, "Oh, I thought you was the hobbyas that ate the old man and ate the old woman and come back to eat me up." And the hunter said, "Nah." And he took the little girl out of the sack, took her home to be his little girl. But before he left, he put the big black dog in the sack, tied it shut just like it'd been that night. All the hobbyas came going, hobya, and they ran over, untied the sack. He said, "Look at me," and the big black dog said, and then he ate all those hobbyas down to their last toenail, which is the reason there ain't no more hobbyas today. The end. Well, I was wondering what to tell, and I can't tell if I've got any fisher folk here. Oh, got a couple of fisher folk. I knew I'd hit that right. For years, I searched for the ultimate, fishing story. Don't mind him, he's just going through stage.
He's a fisher folk.
You guys got to wake up here. I know it's Sunday morning, but, okay. Not just that ordinary, that fish was so big I couldn't get me and him both in the boat. We still got a couple seats over here, there on the corner. Yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah, that's fine. If you don't mind getting a little black on the rear end, I don't neither. Okay, so here was this fella walked up to me. I'd been hunting the ultimate fish story. Not an ordinary fish story, the definitive fishing story. And this old man finally walked up to me and said, "I was born and raised down yonder in the bend of the river." He said, "There in that deep hole in the river, there lived this gigantic catfish. We are talking humongous catfish. And ever since I was a boy, people go down there and try to catch. And then they come back up by the house, having failed, and then we got to listen to them whine, going, I had him on the pole. He dragged me up and down the bank for a solid hour, and darn, he broke off the hook and the leader, and he got away. Somebody else come by and go, I had him, hooked him on a limb line. I really thought that rope was heavy enough to hold him dirt if he didn't pull the whole tree into the river, broke off the hook and the leader, and he got away." He said, when we was nigh abouts grown, Daddy and I decided we was going to be the ones to catch our fish, because Daddy got his hands on a boat anchor. We baited that anchor with a side of beef. We got a rope about that big around, tied it, clamped it through the eye of that anchor, tied the other end of about a half-mile of rope onto the boat. We rowed out there. We got right over that fish laying in the bottom. This is Ozark water we're talking about here. Down in the bottom. We heaved the bait over the side. Fish rose up and took the bait. Slurped it up and up the river he went. He said, I grabbed the rope, gave it a little jerk to set the hook. And he said, Daddy, we got him. And the fish is pulling the rope out of the boat. He said, Daddy, we got him. About that time, the boat started following the fish. He said, Daddy, he's got us. The boat started up the river so fast, friction set the boat on fire, burned it to the water line. We didn't get him. He said it was probably sour grapes on our part, but we just decided that old fish could live in that river until he died of old age. So, you are a fisherman, aren't you? Only fishermen think the old age line is funny. Well, about a month after that, though, we had a fog down in our holler. So thick that the fish, he couldn't tell the difference twixt the fog and the river. So here's the fish. He's swimming around in the river. All of a sudden, he looks up. He's out in the fog. Thick fog. Really, really, really thick fog. So here's the fish having more fun than he's ever had in his life. He's swimming around up in the trees chasing hoot owls. He swapped down into the corral, ate a hog, swam over, looked in the upstairs windows, about scared the kids upstairs in bed to death. Said he stayed out so long, the sun came up, he got a little carried away because the fog started to lift. Fish didn't. He went whoop, slip, flop. Missed the river, landed in the corral. They got him. Yeah. He said, Daddy, come up to the house, and we all run down there, and we just looked at that fish. Dad, what are we going to do with this much fish? He said, son, we ain't going to be selfish. We ain't going to keep him for ourselves. Said, we are going to have a community fish fry. We are going to invite everybody we know, and we ain't going to have to cook but one fish. So we sent the little kids to invite the neighbors, and we got out there with buckets and tubs and wash boilers and stuff to put the fish in. We got axes and saws and cross cuts and everything we could think of. We're going to fillet that fish down to friable sized chunks. Daddy got the first fish, the first cut at the fish's side with his skinning knife. He went pink, yeah. Didn't even make a scratch on that fish. Must have hit a hard spot. I'll try over here. Patoink! Yeah, bent the knife. Didn't hurt the fish at all. Forget the knife. Get the ice pick. Boing, pink, pink, boing, pink, 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 nothing. Said finally up next to one fin, we found a tiny spot, a little softer than the rest of him. We got down there and got to haggling a hole in that fish. Daddy ruined 2 hacksaw blades trying to just get through the skin. We finally got a hole about this long. We pried we pulled we got 2 pairs of pliers and pried the edges apart, looked inside him, said in his life, that fish had ate and digested so many hooks and leaders, he was practically solid metal. So we gave up the idea of a fish fry. We hauled him to Branson and sold him for scrap iron. That's it. Yep. Now there was a, you don't have to leap and run. We got, and now I get background bluegrass music. We had this all arranged so that they weren't ever under us. And immediately, only the first day of the festival did that work. Immediately, right after that, they scheduled at least a half a show on top of us every time. And that's what comes of being the red-haired stepchildren. Isn't that a great phrase? Okay, pay attention. People look at me all the time and they say, okay, where do you get them stories, really? Really? Little old man walked up to me and told me the ultimate fish story. Lady by the name of Donna McCall used to work down in the glass blowers, told me the hop yahs. Now pay attention, this is actually what I do for a living. I don't forget nothing. I don't. And I'll have little bits and pieces up here drifting around the Carter catalog in my head. And all of a sudden, pieces that I've been trying to find a place to put them. One piece of this I've only had a few months. One I heard last fall. One I heard 11 seasons ago. And one I've been carrying around for 45 years. Here we go. Fella came up last fall, sat down next to me on the front porch, said, well, I've been waiting to catch you with an empty chair next to you. And I'm like, now, wait a minute, fella. And he said, no, I got a story. This is what he told me. He said a little boy walked out of his mama's house, and when he got to the gate, of course, his hound crawled out from under the porch where he was asleep with and followed it. See, you never used to go no place by yourself. You went, your dog went with you. Whole family went, every dog on the place followed along behind you. Now, there's a corollary there I want to point out. If you leave and all your dogs go with you, when you get together with a bunch of other families, all of their dogs are there too. Okay, so the little boy, he walked out and he walked down to the general store, and there was a bunch of old men, the spitting and whittling crowd, we call them. Yeah, they feel honor bound to sit on the front porch and turn firewood into toothpicks and spit. It being a fine day, they were spitting in the street. When it gets cold, they move in the house and spit on the wood stove, which is a nasty proposition all the way around. Anyway, the spitting and whittling crowd, they was a joshing and a talking. So this little boy walked up to the general store and sat down on the porch to listen to the old men. He sat, his dog flopped down on the street and went sound asleep. Not 5 minutes later, along came this big old wagon, rolling on that dirt street, not making a sound, and it ran right over the dog's tail and cut it plumb off. Well, the little boy doesn't know what to do to help his dog, and one of the old men looked down and said, well, son, that's a shame, your dog getting his tail cut off like that. Why, that'd just ruin the dog's carriage, meaning the way he stands and runs and stuff. And the little boy said, well, sir, I don't know about his carriage, but it sure enough stopped his wagon. Now, that's the kind of play on words that just drives